Hey, what's up, everybody? So coming to you this morning I'm returning. I haven't done this since last year, but returning with my Shut the Fuck Up series. I'm a little riled up about a couple things in boxing. I'm going to go over them individually. So this video is going to be about Keith one-time Thurman and how I need to tell him to shut the fuck up. And the reason I'm saying it and doing with Keith Thurman is I'm just really tired of this guy calling people out when I truly believe he doesn't want to fight anybody big next, because in reality, I don't think he'll be ready for that, and I think he knows that. He's been calling guys out for the last few months. He's making excuses about the Pacquiao fight. Well, which, I mean, hey, if he legitimately wasn't ready for that fight, then, hey, that's on him. As boxing goes, you agreed to the fight. You went in there, you lost. I'm sure if he would have won the fight, we wouldn't be hearing all these excuses. Or given what the shit he's been saying about how, he was overweight by a lot of pounds and blah, 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 blah. If he would have won, I'm sure he'd be saying, oh, well, I had to drop a lot of weight and I still won. Thurman and his excuses and his bullshit is just annoying. He's been calling guys out. He called out Errol Spence. He called out Danny Garcia rematch. He's called out Terrence Crawford. But, it's funny. He didn't call out for a rematch with Sean Porter. You can use the excuse one time that you beat Porter, but you barely fucking beat Porter. And Porter's done way more than you since that fight. And I don't, Thurman he's a guy I used to defend a lot. But there was a video, you guys can go back and watch it, where some fan and him got into it, and the fan was calling him sometime, meaning that he only fights once in a while, And it's true, he does, he doesn't fight very often. And, injury has really kept him out of the ring since his win over Danny Garcia in March of 2017. Injuries have really kept him out of things. And, it's been disappointing, because I think Thurman is a very good fighter. I like him a lot, actually. I always have. Always thought he was very talented. I didn't think the fight with Danny Garcia in 2017 was that close. I thought he cleanly outboxed him. I gave him about 9 rounds in that fight. So I was very surprised that one judge could see it for Danny in that fight, because Danny was somewhat in the fight, but I didn't think there was very many rounds that were competitive. I felt Keith really boxed well in that one, and and I thought that was a poor decision. But since then, it's been injuries have kept him out of the ring for almost 2 years. He took on Josecito Lopez and barely beat him. He almost got knocked out in that fight in the 7th round. And then, you saw against Pacquiao, he fought well. Second half of the fight, he really turned it up and fought well, landed some good shots, but he lost. I mean, in all honesty, I liken it to the fight with Danny Garcia. For Pacquiao, I don't know how the judges scored it a split decision, because I gave Pacquiao a clean 8 rounds in that fight. Clean 8 rounds, too, plus the knockdown. So, it's just surprising to me that the scoring on that. But also more surprising is this Thurman's just the shit he says and does. And the recent thing that's got me fired up, got people commenting on it, is his call out of Terrence Crawford. Now I'm going to break some things down here. He calls out Terrence Crawford. He says, send the contracts, right? Obviously, Top Rank made some kind of offer to him. And then Top Rank came back and said he wants too much money. And then they said $10 million is his asking price. And some people are saying, well, why not? Give him whatever he wants if Crawford really wants to fight. The thing is Bob Arum doesn't have that money right now, especially during the coronavirus pandemic. But why would anybody think that Thurman deserves $10 million? I mean, Thurman's good, don't get me wrong, but what has he done in the last few years? Nothing. Really nothing. He hasn't done anything. He has 1 win in 3.5 years over Josecito Lopez. In 3 years. In the last 3 years, he has 1 win, against Josecito Lopez, and he barely beat him. Almost got knocked out. I don't care if he was out of the ring for a long time. Lopez is at a stage where if you're a top-tier fighter and you come in shape and prepared, you should kick his ass and knock him out. Plain and simple. Thurman didn't do that. So what has Thurman done? Are we just caught up on what he did a few years ago? You know, are we really caught up in that, what he did a few years ago? I mean, don't get me wrong, I give him credit, you know, for the Porter wins and the Danny Garcia wins, but what has he done other than that? You know, and for me, it's about what have you done for me lately? That's what it is, you know? And he hasn't done shit, to be honest. So, again, Keith Thurman needs to shut the fuck up, because what I think he's doing with the whole Terrence Crawford thing, he's calling out the guy that nobody wants to cross the street and fight, who fights for the PBC. He's calling him out. They come back with an offer, and then he overprices himself at $10 million just to show that he called him out, and they don't want to give him what he's deserved. But why is he deserving of $10 million is what I want to know. I mean, people thought Danny Garcia, who's got just as big a name as Thurman, even though he lost to him, he's got just as big a name. People were giving Danny Garcia shit last year for turning down $5 million to go to ESPN and fight Crawford. And you got guys like Crawford and Danny, you know, talking, and Thurman talking $10 million and shit, but Vasily Lomachenko's only making, I think, 4 or 5, if that, and he's the A side for his fight with Teofimo Lopez. Lopez is only making 1.3, and don't get me wrong, I'm not saying those guys are on the level, but Lomachenko's pretty fucking close to the level of Danny Garcia and Keith Thurman in terms of name recognition and shit. And for victories, he's not even getting as much as these guys are asking for. So I just think it's funny and ridiculous that Thurman just keeps talking and keeps saying all the shit that he's saying and acting like he really wants to fight somebody when he really doesn't. You know, in my opinion, he's going to end up fighting some second tier, third tier welterweight, because the second tiers are too good for him right now. He's going to end up fighting one of them and then use the excuse, well, I wanted a Pacquiao rematch. Pacquiao didn't want to fight me. I wanted this guy. I wanted that guy. I guarantee you, Thurman is not going to fight a top tier guy or a top 10 guy even. I would be very surprised if he did that. He's probably going to end up fighting somebody like along the lines of an Andre Berto, maybe even less than that before the end of the year. And like I said, he's going to use these excuses. But you know what? Thurman can come back and shut me the fuck up next year when he actually steps up and wants to fight somebody. And you know what? I'll say it again. Why not fight Sean Porter? That's a huge fight. He would become a mandatory challenger. Porter would go for the fight because Porter wants some revenge. And it's a big fight. It's a money fight too. These excuses that Danny Garcia, that Keith Thurman used to not have to fight fucking what's his name, Porter. And you know what? The winner of Spence and Garcia might use the same excuse to avoid Sean Porter in a rematch because both guys have fought him. If Danny doesn't fight fucking Sean Porter, he's afraid because Porter is his mandatory. He should want revenge. The first fight was close. And if he were to beat Spence, he should have all the confidence in the world. And unless he lands the Pacquiao fight, which is his only bigger fight, he should fight fucking Sean Porter next. Or Keith Thurman. But, I mean, I don't know. I would fight Porter because he's a mandatory. You hold on to your belt that way. But, yeah, I just don't get Keith Thurman. I really don't get it. And he really needs to get in line and go beat somebody legit because right now I've kind of taken him out of the serious mix. Even in terms of the title contention, he's not a mandatory. He's not way up there. And in terms of the big fights, right now he's kind of on the back pedal, you know? So you want a big fight? Go fight Mikey Garcia if Mikey doesn't get the Pacquiao fight. You really want to prove something? Go fight Mikey before the end of the year. Beat him. He's, to me, not a top 5 welterweight right now. You beat him, you prove you're a top 5 welterweight. Because I still have Thurman in the top 5. I got him right there at number 5. But he's fading, you know? And right now, he needs to put his head down. He needs to shut the fuck up. And he needs to stop calling out guys like Terrence Crawford when he really doesn't want to fight him. That's the thing. I don't think he wants to fight. I don't think he wants anything to do with Crawford. And I'll say this again, everybody. I've been saying it for a couple years. And I'm saying it not for the last time. I'm going to keep saying it till the fight happens. Terrence Crawford is better than all the PBC guys by far. He is going to whip Errol Spence's ass when they fight. I'm telling you that right now. I'm calling it. He will whip Errol Spence's ass and any other guy the fucking PBC has. And that includes Pacquiao. That includes Errol Spence. That's all the top guys. Terrence Crawford, if any of them sign on the dotted line and face him, they're going to get their ass whipped. They're not just going to get beat. They're going to get whipped. because Terrence Crawford is that good. And they've been avoiding him for years. He's going to be fresh when they fight him. Everybody's going to think he might be too old now. He ain't going to be too old because he does not have the wear and tear on him because he's been avoided. Because he fights for Top Rank is the excuse. He makes money now for people. He is a big money fighter. If Top Rank can get together $5 million to offer Danny Garcia last year, how much fucking money do you think Terrence Crawford's making off of that? At least double that. So that shows you right there, a dude's worth between $5 and $10 million per fight. You're a big deal. You're a big name in the sport, and you deserve the top guys to fight him. And if Keith Thurman wants that work, fight him for what Bob Arum offers. I'm sure Bob Arum would offer him what he offered Danny Garcia last year, $5 million. Why not $5 million? During the coronavirus? Why not? But you know what? Top Rank's not even talking about how they're negotiating a deal with Keith Thurman because he overpriced himself. He did that on purpose because at the end of the day, he really is not ready and he really does not want to fight Terrence Crawford. So I'll take any feedback you guys want, but that's the shut the fuck up Keith sometime Thurman. I'm on the sometime bandwagon now. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.